Odyssey is about to come face to face with the ghosts of two world wars.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
On the ocean bottom lies a hidden world scarred by conflict.
It's amazing to see this.
With a hero on board,
I went down this net at the side.
You're a brave man. You're a brave man.
they go where no one has gone before.
It may be the world's biggest wreck. It's amazing the gun's still there.
Yes.
The lost battlefields of World Wars I and II.
How cool is this? This is real cool.
In the western approaches to the English Channel lies an area codenamed Atlas. For Odyssey Marine Exploration, it's a hunting ground, hiding shipwrecks that could be worth billions of dollars. But the Atlas search area holds another secret. It's also a battleground. During the two world wars, hundreds of military vessels fought and were sunk at this location. From destroyers to submarines to merchant ships, the Germans called it the Valley of Death. You can come here in search of treasure, but there's no telling just what you'll find. August 5th, 2008. Odyssey's survey vessel, the John Lethbridge, is underway. Their mission, to uncover the locations of possible shipwrecks and target them for deep ocean diving.
I don't think we're going to get much more out of it unless we run parallel with it.
Ernie Tapanis is in command, and he's a master of side-scan sonar technology.
There she is.
In this side-scan image, an object on the ocean floor appears as a light spot. The object's shadow remains dark.
The idea is to try to get an image of the target from both sides, and that's where you try to learn as much about your target as possible is by the shadow that it casts.
The shape of this image tells Ernie that he's found a ship. And not just any ship.
This target has the characteristics of a submarine. Submarines have a very definite size and shape. Most shipwrecks aren't that long and skinny, so they stand out quite easily.
If Ernie is right, he's just found a long-lost sub. The news is sent from the John Lethbridge to the Explorer, Odyssey's flagship, and home to Zeus, their deep ocean ROV. The crew of this ship is famous for finding lost shipwrecks. But to do that, you need to leave no stone unturned and stay open to the unexpected.
Well, Ernie's got a theory that it's U-103. And U-103 was actually sunk by the Olympic.
The HMT Olympic was the sister ship of the Titanic and the single largest vessel on the ocean at the time. In the spring of 1918, she was freshly camouflaged and carrying thousands of American troops across the Atlantic to the battlefields of World War I. As she neared the end of her journey, a German submarine, a U-boat, suddenly appeared on the surface of the ocean. It was U-103. To defend herself, the Olympic went on the attack. At full throttle, the 46,000-ton ship rammed the sub, fatally wounding U-103, the only warship sunk by a passenger vessel in World War I. It's a story that's been told for decades, but is it really true? This dive could finally confirm the reports.
U-103 has never been found. So it's going to be curious to go down and see whether there's damage on this wreck that's consistent with possibly being run down by a large ship. If so, then we got the 103.
Tom will direct a dive from the offline room in the belly of the Explorer. He's joined by Neil Cunningham Dobson, Odyssey's chief marine archaeologist, and ROV technician Jeff Thomas. Jeff is a veteran submariner with the U.S. Navy. He's got the expertise that can help ID their shipwreck.
5 meters away, dead ahead. Fish.
Ooh, the size of that thing.
Wow. This is very cool.
Zeus is 400 feet beneath the surface of the ocean, and so far, the visibility is excellent. The crew quickly spots the distinctive features of a submarine.
Right now you're looking at the aft, it looks like the aft weapons loading hatch. And then you have what I think are exhaust manifolds. I think those are dive planes forward.
Does that mean it's a bow or still not ascertained?
Yeah, no, we're definitely on the bow.
We're definitely on the bow area. These are compressed air tanks here,
Yeah,
high pressure air tanks. Oh, is that the conning tower up above the IC? Yeah. Wow. Conning tower. It's an anchor. This is a neat wreck.
What are we looking at right now? What is this?
We're looking at the forward deck gun.
What's this?
Shells for the gun.
What's that?
Paul wants to know from a U-boat expert what that tube is there.
I think that's the induction pipe.
It's an induction pipe.
Like the exhaust, but opposite.
Yeah.
On World War I submarines, an induction pipe brought air from the surface to the diesel engine. The need to surface for air was a problem faced by older submarines. U-103 had an induction pipe, so this is a vital clue.
It does look as though this is going to be a World War I U-boat.
Next, ROV pilots fly Zeus down the length of the wreck to measure it. It's 67 meters long, within feet of U-103's length when it was operational. But there's even better evidence.
Is that a hatch?
That's an open hatch, yeah.
This submarine's hatch is swung open on its hinge.
An open hatch, so somebody from the inside opened it, which meant it confirms the historical record that the men got out and then scuttled it, so that would have filled with water.
All but 9 crewmen were reported to have escaped U-103 just before it sank. The open hatch here matches the story.
So does this tie in with everything we know about 103 so far?
So far, we're just looking for a big slice.
Aye, aye, Captain.
With the Olympic bearing down on him, U-103's captain ordered an emergency dive. But his evasive action failed. There was no escaping the Olympic's massive propellers. Over 20 feet in diameter, they weighed 38 tons apiece. The story says they sliced a deep gash in the sub's hull, just behind or abaft the conning tower. Seawater flooded U-103.
So there should be some big slices in it with just forward of the conning tower? Is that what they said?
The huge liner had struck the U-boat and aft the conning tower.
There's a slice there. Someone's broken there, eh? Do you think maybe that's the cut? I don't
That
know.
might be.
That's a nice gun.
That was a definite hit with something. Like you'd taken your hand and just sliced into something. That was a propeller blade.
The slice, the open hatch, and the induction pipe are all evidence pointing to one conclusion.
Put in the official record is 103.
That was very cool. So that was awesome. That was a very cool sight. Very awesome.
The remarkable story of the sinking of U-103 has just been confirmed for the very first time. Odyssey will inform the German authorities of their find, and the family members of the sailors who went down with the ship will at last know their final resting place.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I guess thinking back on it, it's been an incredible day today.
Discovery made. It's time to retrieve Zeus and move on. Their hunt for history is just getting started. The Odyssey fleet is floating on top of a sunken battlefield. They've already made a major find. Now, their survey team aboard the John Lethbridge has pinpointed 3 more mysteries lying on the seabed.
Ernie had found some new targets just in the last few days that he wanted to pass over to us, and took a look at the targets. They look like they're pretty exciting targets, and we're going to dive those.
The explorer puts into the port of Falmouth, England, to change crews and pick up one very important new arrival. Enter Jim Mcdonald.
Hello, you must be Mr. McDonald.
That's me, Jim McDonald.
Jim McDonald. Pleased to meet you. I'm Neil Dobson, the archaeologist.
Fellow Scot as well.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking forward to meeting you.
Aye, and me too.
Jim is a World War II veteran, a sailor who saw combat in the waters Odyssey is about to explore.
And this is the big one that we'll actually go down and have a look at the shipwrecks with.
At 81 years old, Jim is ready to sail again, but he's never seen gear quite like this.
It's amazing to think how this thing all works underwater. This must be to change direction and so on, I suppose. Hey, Susie, you sure you know what you're doing?
But the most sophisticated equipment in the world still can't match an eyewitness to history.
So you can have
That's why Neil has brought Jim on board.
This is where you'll be, Jim. So nice.
Thank you very much. You got my nickname right.
Follow me.
Jimmy Mac. Huh?
The lines are cast, and the explorer heads back out to sea.
So this is where the action takes place,
see.
Jim, and have a seat.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Neil, Tom, archaeologist Hawk Tolson, and project manager Mark Martin are all on board for this next mission.
Said no, they've all been.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to let those out
That's
of your
when
control.
I first went to sea.
Ah, you were a handsome lad.
These are the 2 medals that came. It says for brave conduct, and you can see what it says there. You
It's
can
going
read
to
it out
take
if you
all
want
of their
to.
expertise and seamanship to crack their next case. Because this is one of the most puzzling sonar images Odyssey has ever seen.
It was described by Ernie when he first found it in side scan as something unusual. So we're going to go in and check it, see what it is.
The shape of this image bears an uncanny resemblance to a World War II aircraft carrier. Specifically, a type known as a flat top. But here's the mystery. No aircraft carrier was ever recorded as lost in this area.
Yeah, and auto heading. Thrusters ahead. And engaging thrusters. Okay, bring up your lights. Okay, and release.
Releasing.
Let's play. Left-hand side of it, the left-hand corner.
Survey technician Chris Heek and ROV supervisor Ewan Basin navigate by watching the ROV's onboard sonar imaging. What they see is so strange, they need Tom to check it out.
Have you got the sonar there, Tom?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you should come in here and take a look at it.
All right, let me come look.
Something's happened.
What's up?
You know, this looks like an actual aircraft carrier. It doesn't look like a flat top. Holy
It's a nice
This
picture.
thing looks like an actual carrier.
I can see why they would say it was an aircraft carrier. Yeah, I mean, you can see the island on it.
Yeah.
Zeus is providing a new high-resolution scan of the shipwreck. And it still looks like a flat top. The Allies built more than 120 during World War II. They started with a large tanker and added a flight deck. Less than 500 feet long, they often carried just 4 planes. Those planes were vital to the war in the Atlantic. From a high vantage point, they could spot and attack German U-boats.
I'm trying to think what it looks like.
Yeah, wait, we get a full scan here and you'll see. I mean, we have a full flat deck, but what looks like an island potentially here.
Do you think it could be a big carrier?
There's none reported as missing here, having been sunk here. Looking at it from the side, this is tilted slightly towards us, it looks like. And what we've got here kind of matches to what we would expect on a flight deck. You know, in World War II, it was a strange time period, and it's possible that maybe one was brought out and sunk because damage was too severe or things like that and not reported, but it would be strange. We'd be surprised if this turns out to be an aircraft carrier, but I mean, you can't argue with that sonar image. It looks like one.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
We'll find out shortly. That's the fun of this. You never know what you're going to find. Roger, Dodge.
Yeah, we're just about there, Jimmy.
ROV pilots fly Zeus closer to their target, and slowly, the wreck emerges from the
Here we
gloom.
go.
Bingo.
Frames. Beams and frames. If you see any frames or plate, we can have a close look at to see if they're riveted or not.
One of the best ways to date a shipwreck is to determine if it contains rivets or welds.
Can you see, is that rivets there?
It looks to be welded as opposed to rivet, which puts it... No. There's rivets.
This. But World War II, you had a combination of riveting and
welding.
Welding changed the way ships were built during World War II. Before welding, it took around 150 days to build a cargo ship. After welding, 42 days. It was a revolution in ship construction. So far, there's nothing to prove this wreck isn't an aircraft carrier. But nothing to suggest it is either.
I haven't seen any sign of armament, like guns or anything, or explosion. There's no sign of explosion. I don't think it's a carrier.
Could you waypoint this as stud link chain?
Done deal, Neil.
While Tom, Neil, and Jim pore over details on the HD monitors, Chris Heek approaches the mystery from a different angle. He's measuring the shipwreck.
Now, Arch, you got any rough length of this beast?
85 meters.
It's 250 to 275 feet long. It's roughly the size of the Explorer.
That's the deal breaker. 250 feet is too short for even the smallest aircraft carrier, making this sonar image even more puzzling than before.
Sonar picture just does not look like this one.
It looks like it's separated from the rest of the
Yeah, it's broken.
wreck.
Boat's upside down, right? It could be upside down and twisted off.
I think we got a ship that's really laid over and it's given a false impression.
Tom has been reading sonar for decades and rarely sees an image so different from the actual wreck. His best theory is that they found a cargo ship that landed on the bottom upside down. Over time, its hull collapsed under sea pressure and flattened. On sonar, the resulting large flat surface area screams aircraft carrier. But it was a false positive.
What we do learn from this is it's kind of an awakening and maybe a humbling a little bit, because every so often we find these targets where from side scan we're making guesses what they are, and then we go down and we find out, you know, it was totally different than what we thought it was. And you know, what we need to take away from that is we can't draw the kind of conclusions we're drawing from side scan. You know, until we get that visual. Yeah, we got to go look.
Bridge, RV.
Yeah, and I think we're ready to start recovery.
Roger.
For Odyssey, this has been an eye-opening trip to the bottom. But now, their ability to dive at all is about to be put on the line.
Winch, pick up.
Winch picking up.
Something has just triggered Zeus's alarm. Her motor has shut down, and the ROV is dead in the water. The Explorer crew shifts into their emergency recovery plan.
Just when I was having fun.
Zeus is designed to immediately surface when her motor is shut down, but the crew has no direct control over where the ROV comes up. If she crashes into the bottom of the ship, it can put a quick end to their operation.
Yeah, we're recovering.
Copy down here.
The officers on watch need to move the Explorer out of Zeus's way, and fast.
You're gonna have to get the bridge to move ahead quicker. Bridge, gotta move ahead quicker. We want the ROV behind the ship.
Yeah, get the...
Okay. Yeah. Winch all stop.
Winch all stop.
It's all up to the ship now. There's nothing we can really do to help.
Yeah, it's still coming in fairly good.
Roger. ROV on surface directly astern.
Zeus breaks the surface only yards from the boat. A very close call. Once the bridge positions the crane over the dead ROV, the deck crew lifts the 8-ton, $4 million Zeus back onto the deck.
You should be able to pick it up okay like this, shouldn't
You
we?
want to come from here, Andre? You ready?
You're down. Good shot. Nice landing.
Now, there's just one priority: finding out what caused the critical malfunction.
It appears that we've got a dead motor. That could be a real problem. This motor is huge.
Replacing Zeus's broken motor with a spare is a complex, time-consuming procedure. Tom is worried about the cost and their schedule. They still have 2 shipwrecks to explore on this voyage.
These guys go all night. A major portion of the night, then they're going to be dead tomorrow.
No problem. Just keep going.
Hey guys, let's do it.
Team Sisu, let's go. Yeah, we've got to take the main motor electrical feed off tomorrow morning from the termination box, and then it should slide out like a greased weasel, hopefully.
They work deep into the night. Come morning, they're back at it.
Where's those cutters?
I was just milking it.
Tom is pushing hard to get the diving operation back online. But it's a tricky business handling motors that weigh almost 1,000 pounds apiece at sea.
They want to pull us into some money. Okay. A ver si puedes cambiar toda la cadena.
10 hours of back-breaking work, and they've made the swap. With Zeus once again ready for action,